Hello there, beautiful human. Melinda Joy, Crossroads Storyteller, here with a unpacking and catch up video. Every month on my channel, I share a collective tarot story and 7 tapping videos to support us all in becoming our most true selves. So if you like tarot and tapping, you will definitely want to push the subscribe button. So like I said, today I am unpacking. So I got back a little while ago, a little bit over a week ago, and I was exhausted. So I didn't unpack, but I am excited to unpack with you and to sort of go over some of my, how some of my plans went. So for example, I had intended to study both of these texts, and I did not crack open either of them. So I think it's always good to be transparent around those kinds of things. Just because I'm nerdy doesn't mean I get to all of the nerdy things that I say I'm going to. And those were 2 of the things that I didn't get to. Some other things that I did get to, but that probably could have gotten to more so, is the Rose Alchemy deck and the Dark Goddess Tarot deck. And if you don't know already, I use both of these decks to help regulate my emotional body. I do breath work and meditation with this one, and then I do visual meditation with this one. And that's really supportive to my mental emotional well-being, and I definitely did it like a third of the time instead of even half the time. Probably would have been way better, but it is what it is. And I did use them, and they were really supportive. I got to chapter 8 in this book, which was super fun. A lot of it was review, but reviewing complex concepts is really good way to go about life, especially if you want to, or if I want to, have a clear understanding of them. I find it really helpful to review on a regular basis. And I did, yes, here it is. I found some content that I had not previously filed away under things to memorize that are in the process of being memorized or are already memorized. And that was super fun to find pieces that I hadn't incorporated into my mental bank. And oh yes, there was one thing that I had not studied before, and that was it was an Indian word of some kind. Here it is, Rajas. I may not be saying that right, but yeah, it was really fun to better understand the 3. Oh, I'm not sure what to do with those vowels. It was fun to explore I'm gonna go with Gunas, and the Rajas. It was super fun to become better acquainted with those. Just sort of, Hindu. I had said something less specific. So yeah, I really enjoyed just having a real chance to read. I have a hard time finding time to read with a small human. I only have so much time to do my things, and reading is such a casual, relaxed way of spending one's time. Sometimes I have trouble remembering that it's valuable also. Before I get to these, I want to talk about this first. So when I brought this deck, I the whole first day, the day we left, on our trip, was a Monday when I wanted to use this deck on Instagram and share it with everyone, and sort of pick your own card style collective reading. And I could not find a good time to do it, and it caused me a lot of stress, and it was a very clear indication of how I caused myself stress, like with my own expectations of life, and how I don't, like, that's self-imposed and self-inflicted and is unnecessary. But what was super cool was I had the deck with me, like in my hand while I was on the airplane, and I changed seats with my mother-in-law and sat next to a stranger instead of my babe for part of the flight, and I got to give them multiple tarot readings. I gave them one tarot reading and they were like, that was so much fun. Can we do it again? And I was like, yeah, we totally can. Except, like, maybe let's pick a different area of your life to talk about, or, you know, something like that. So we did 2 tarot readings, and it was just so awesome to have a deck with diverse people in it. Because the person I was reading for is a first-generation American whose parents were born in India. And one of the cards in the first spread I did for them was of a Indian man, and that it was just really cool to be able to not just provide a tarot reading, but provide one that visually catered to the person I was reading for. So yeah, that was just like especially edifying for me. And I mean, just like finding a random dude on an airplane who not only enjoyed a tarot reading, but like wanted another one and like appreciated my reading style and knowledge of the cards. Like that was fun too. So yes, these decks, they're the Creative Liberation Now deck and the Gaia Star Codex. And I really enjoyed prioritizing these decks, so much so that I think I'm going to continue prioritizing them in my personal reading. I haven't done that since I got home, because when I got home, I was like, oh my goodness, I have so many decks. I'm so excited. I love them all and I miss them so much. And so I just used all of those decks instead of unpacking these decks. But I think I might create some kind of container for myself so that my like just decks to use on a regular basis are a little bit more limited. And then, you know, I'm not gonna make it so I'm not allowed to use any of my other decks, but to sort of encourage some focused study on these decks, and some others that I think go well with them visually and ideologically. But yeah, this deck was so much fun. One thing that just rocked my world, I was hoping that this card would show up. So I believe, yeah, one of the nights I pulled out this deck to play with my husband, and my hubby is not huge on pulling cards for himself. Like, he super supports me pulling cards to support other people, but that's not like his preferred way of being supported. So when we pull cards together, it's more so for fun and like exploration, and less so because I'm like giving him a reading. And he pulled this card, and we were reading what made up the collage images, and this one is a mushroom. And of course we got all nerdy trying to decide which mushroom it probably is. And then this one is quote unquote a moonstone. And we were like, what is this quote unquote business? And so we looked it up, and the only moonstones we could find on the internet are cannabis nugs that are rolled in keef and crystals, like THC crystals. So they're like a embellished herb nug, and they look fantastic. But it was just so freaking wild that was how it was written in the guidebook. And, you know, of course, we were like musing on it, and we decided that since this was created so long ago, the creator of it probably wasn't aware of the internet and the ability for people to just look stuff up whenever they wanted to. And probably thought this was a lot more covert than it actually is. But that just made this deck all the more interesting to me. I absolutely love that the person who was creating it was involved in Moonstone action. And then I also really enjoyed working with the Creative Liberation Now deck. I found some themes, some visual themes in the deck that I'm really excited to. These are the cards left over that I have yet to tap with for everybody for our collective story. So yeah, I found some themes in the visual themes. There's a lot of rainbow action happening. And what was the other thing that I thought was really unique and interesting? The rainbows for sure were one of them, because there's many cards with rainbows on them. So I think they have to do with like spectrally, like things being a spectrum. And so like spectral vision and spectral values and things like that. Like in a sense of that, like the pure light of the divine is manifest through a multifaceted expression of the color of the rainbow, right? And I don't remember where it was or what exactly was being said, but there was like a sentence in this book of the parts that I read that mentioned rainbows as the spectrum of the pure light of the divine. So that I had like sort of already made that connection, and then I read it and it felt very affirming. I don't think I can remember right now what the other thing was that I wanted to like see. Here's another rainbow. But I did have a chance to do some recording while I was in Hawaii. I did only the bare minimum to keep up with my collective story cycle and the tapping videos that go with the story. And yeah, I don't know when it is going to happen, but I think it would be really fun to do a much deeper dive into this deck on YouTube. Like do a YouTube series of a much deeper dive into this deck. Maybe card by card, maybe suit by suit. Maybe I'll do a variety of things and start off with larger spectrum pieces. Spectrum? Maybe I'm just excited about that word. Larger scale, larger perspective. That's the word I was looking for. Larger perspective chunks of it, and then break it up into even smaller pieces. Because yeah, this deck was incredibly supportive for me while I was in Hawaii. Of course, I got triggered by my parents and my in-laws, and them being triggered by each other, and all of those things that happen when you're hanging out with large portions of your family for a longer period of time. And Hawaii was like the perfect place to be held in that discomfort and learn new ways of dealing with that discomfort and like processing it and doing something more useful and productive with oneself instead of just like getting caught up in it, and sort of like sinking into it like sinking sand. I don't know if you have that kind of experience. I do. But I really enjoyed the bay that we visited. We pretty intentionally didn't do a whole lot. Just getting to Hawaii was like the primary success. But there was a couple of places we went. I got to visit the Painted Church, which made me really happy. Of course, with my religious studies background, I was paying attention to all of the different denominations as we drove down the streets. And I found several Seventh-day Adventist churches on multiple islands. But this church, like, for sure was super beautiful. And at one point, my grandpa was having some very serious health issues. And so we went to this church and prayed to get my babe out of the house and to sort of focus our energy. And I also got a charm from this place, this church of St. Michael. And then this is just another visual that I can share. I don't want to talk about this visual, but just something else to put in front of you. I also found like by the side of the road bakery, and just like fell in love with honey, what is it called? Honey butter mochi, Hawaiian honey butter mochi, that this housewife mom makes to bring in extra dollars, and just like had so much fun supporting her. And I actually got to meet her at one of the bays we visited when we did go somewhere. And I got to purchase some jewelry from local artists, and got to consume a whole bunch of fruit from a super cool local fruit stand. And the most important thing, okay, I knew there was something else. So last video I shared how there was sort of a lot of pressure on this trip, because it is the first trip since my babe was born and the expected last trip before the next babe arrives. And so one of the things that was just so incredibly magical was the bay where we were staying and where we snorkeled most of the time, on occasion had dolphins. On occasion, the dolphins would swim by. And so when I had an idea that they were in the bay and I was going out snorkeling, because of course I wasn't going to like go swim after them, because that's not consensual or respectful. And so, I was just like doing my snorkeling hanging out in the water where I knew that they like might maybe potentially come by, where it's like the right depth. And I just talk to them in my mind and tell them how grateful I was to be in the same water as them, and my intentions of creating a human, and how I would so appreciate their blessing. And if all that meant was the blessing of getting to swim in the water with them, then that was so totally enough. But if it meant that I could be even closer with them and like see them, that would be like extra special. And so many cool things happened. So many dolphins swam by. There was a set of 3 mamas with their 3 babies that swam right underneath me once, and got like I could feel all sorts of like echolocation situations going by me. And yeah, it was just pure magic. And I so appreciated the opportunity to take some time away from my regular do and enjoy my family and nature more seriously. So if you enjoyed this video, please like it. And if you would like to send me financial gratitude, book a reading, or follow me on social, you can find all of that in a single link below. So many blessings.